What happens when the Cape Crusader discovers he has a son with the world's deadliest assassin? Let's find out. Hey, super friends, Jake here with the Brave and the Boys, and you know, a new absolute, that means a new absolute video. So we've already gotten some Grant Morrison Batman in absolute before, and I kind of want to show you how it would all fit in together. Now, granted, we're also going to show you how this compares to the Omnibus, and then give you a short little review of the storyline, but I want to show you where it fits in. So this is going to be Batman and Son, which is kind of the beginning where Batman realizes he has a son with the world's deadliest assassin. And this to me was the peak of the Grant Morrison Bruce Wayne Batman. Now that's an important distinction. So here he realizes that Talia took a little advantage of him, and he has a son who is a homicidal maniac murderer, trained by the League of Assassins, grandson of Ra's al Ghul, known as Damian Wayne. And I cannot believe that because I've always been in a post Damian Wayne world. I remember growing up on the animated Batman movies that had Damian Wayne, and it's so cool to finally get his origin story in absolute. Now, I will say, this had to come directly from James Gunn, because the Batman Brave and the Bold, which I guess they copied our YouTube name for their little live action superhero movie, but is going to introduce Damian Wayne into the live action. So I'm pretty sure they rushed this absolute, but it is gorgeous and amazing. Now, after that, even though it wasn't technically a Batman absolute, it's really important to read Grant Morrison's work on Final Crisis. Now, here's my hot take. I hate the Final Crisis Omnibus. I think you should read the absolute, and this just got reprinted this year, so you can jump from that to this. After that, these next two are out of print. I'm sorry, but I hope that they reprint them, because we did just get this one, so I could see these getting reprinted. This is Batman and Robin, Batman Reborn. Now, this is going to flip and juxtapose the original Batman-Robin relationship, where now Dick Grayson takes up the mantle of Batman, and he's kind of a happy, smiley, jokey Batman, and you get a homicidal, dark, grungy, edgy Robin, which flips their relationship. But you see why Gotham always needs a Batman, why Batman always needs a Robin, and Dick Grayson's my favorite character, and I love how he eventually earns Damian's respect. Then lastly, it finishes out with the Batman Incorporated Omnibus. This is where Batman realizes, hey, I can, fund Batman from all around the world, and you get to see different variations of Batman pop up around the world. And I think, if I remember correctly, let me know in the comments, was this both pre New 52 and post New 52? I'm pretty sure it carried over to the New 52 and ran concurrently with the Court of Owls. But this is how, if you wanted to be a maniac like me and read all of this in absolute format, it would go. But now let's jump into another format you can buy these excellent stories in that might be a little easier to read. So can this absolute replace your Omnis? And sadly, the answer is going to be no. There are issues that are in these Omnis that aren't going to be collected in any of the absolutes, but these absolutes are more for the most definitive stories in the largest format possible. So this is going to have all of the Batman and Son stuff and go up to 675. However, the Omnibus is going to take you up to 683, which gets you into the Batman RIP stuff. So they totally kept this as just a Batman and Son stuff. So once the stuff with Talia and the Man-Bats all wraps up, you are going to be missing that Batman RIP story. Now, will they fill the gap in with another absolute? Maybe, maybe not. So again, absolutes shouldn't replace Omnis. A lot of people feel that way, where it's like, oh, I want the whole run, Omnibuses are for the whole run, every single issue. Absolutes are for the most definitive story. You can pick up this absolute as a new Batman reader and read one of the best Grant Morrison Batman stories ever. Read an awesome story about Damian Wayne and Bruce Wayne and Talia al Ghul, and it's incredible. However, if you want the complete run, you're going to want the Omnis, and that's the way for the completist, the encyclopedia reader who wants every single issue. So again, it is sad that this doesn't include Batman RIP, but again, that wasn't what they were intending and what James Gunn wanted. This is perfectly a primer for the movie. Now let's jump into my review. So now we're going to try this in a different way. I have looked at the analytics, and nobody likes a top-down shot. As soon as I do top-down and flip through the book doing an overview, everybody leaves. So I'm just going to give you kind of a review, and I'll put up art from the book. And if you guys like this format better, let me know in the comments, or if you have a suggestion of what you would like to see, let me know in the comments. So Batman and Son, the first portion dealing with Batman's introduction to Damian Wayne, is awesome, and some of the highlights for me. So Batman is well, Bruce. So it starts with Bruce Wayne at kind of a gala, and it's fancy, and then it gets attacked by man bats and Talia al Ghul, and he meets his son Damien. And the whole point of this book is Damien is a dick. Okay, I'm gonna say it, but it's not his fault. He was trained at the League of Assassins. He was trained that all that matters is strength and killing your opponent. And he meets Batman, the man who will never kill. So you get to see how Batman's identity now is shifted a little bit. He has to be a father as well as a protector of Gotham. He tries to instill his values into Damien, but Damien's been bred as a warrior from the moment he was born. From the moment he could hold a sword, he was trained, and he doesn't understand, why can't you behead the criminals? Why can't you kill the criminals? But Batman tries to train Damien to be a form of justice instead of a cold-blooded killer. You get to see Damien fight against Tim Drake, kind of Batman's adopted son, and you can see this weird ego and pride from Damien, like, oh, I'm the real heir, I'll inherit everything, you're nothing, and he kind of wipes the floor with Tim, and it, is hard to see, but through the end, as Talia attacks and the Man-Bats attack, and they have to team up together, you start to see the inklings that maybe Damien understands what Batman, believes in, and maybe he will start to believe it too. But I love that it's not an overnight transformation because that's not realistic. Then you get some other cool storylines. There's the Clown at Midnight storyline, which I'll put up some art from that book. It's like reading a prose novel, which took me aback. And that kind of has to do with the Joker gets shot by a henchman, and you get to see his transformation into something new, his reinventing himself throughout this experience as the Joker, because the Joker often reinvents himself. And in this case, he reinvents himself as something much more lethal. After that, it has some cool issues where you get to see dark mirror reflections of Batman, like this giant, big cop that like is pumped up with a serum and he's really strong. And they kind of represent different aspects of the Batman character. And you get to learn more about Batman's psyche. And that's the whole thing. Grant Morrison was dissecting the psyche of Batman and making him face external threats that let you understand the character deeper and pulled back layers that were deeper. You get to see this awesome storyline where Batman and the other club of heroes who sort of become the international Batman down the line are in kind of like a murder mystery, and they're being hunted one by one. There's the Black Glove and the Black Case book. There's awesome storylines. And again, each storyline by Grant Morrison just slowly pulls back the layers of Batman. Now, some parts were a little weird. Some parts kind of maybe went a little too far. But I think this is one of the best Batman storylines of all time. I think it fundamentally transformed the character to a point where I can't even imagine there was a pre-Damian world. And that giving Batman a son who's an assassin and was bred as a warrior, who's perfectly trained, is just, and seeing how Batman would react to a son that was actually biologically his, but not one that instills his value, because the other Robins might not biologically be his son, but as someone who's adopted, it doesn't matter if you have blood of your parent. It doesn't matter if you have the DNA of your parents. It matters kind of if you have the same family values. And Damian definitely does not have the same family values that the other Robins do. You get to see him find his place. You get to see him learn how to be a hero, and you get to see Batman learn how to be a father. It's an amazing storyline. I love the Grant Morrison books, and I think this is an awesome place for new readers. So if you're looking for your first Batman Absolute, this is a great one to go with. If you do want to grab it from Organic Price Books. There you can save $2 using the code Braveboys. Or if you want to buy all 4 Batman Absolutes I had on this table, you can save 5% with the code Braveboyssit. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, leave a comment. Give me your suggestions next time. Smash that like button, ring that bell for notifications, and keep reading and stay brave.